Hello. You might recognize me from some of my modeling commercials. As you know, my name is Chris Padgett, and I love St. John Nepomucene and all of the amazing kids that have come through that program. I am a fan of the Zeros. My gracious, they're the best. And they told me a little while ago about a topic that you guys are doing and reviewing, exploring, and that is the topic of tattoos. Now, it is true that I do have tattoos, and it is also true that I have a lot of people ask me why I have tattoos. And so I thought today I would take just a few minutes and talk to you about the tattoos that I have, why I have these tattoos, what they mean, and if it's okay as a Christian to have them. Sound good? Okay. Usually what happens when I travel and somebody sees that I have tattoos, I am asked, what are your tattoos? And I'll say, I don't have any tattoos. These are my birthmarks. And it's meant to be a joke because what I've found is that there are a lot of people who get upset if you have tattoos or not. And to just avoid having that kind of conversation, I deflect with humor. And I do that on purpose. But if someone is kind of persistent and I can tell that they're not going to be terribly critical about it, then I'll show them some of the tattoos that I have and why they mean what they mean. When I first started exploring, and I was an adult, the idea of tattoos, I felt strongly that I wanted it to mean something very important. Now, over the years, I've changed my mind a bit. It doesn't have to have some intense, beautiful meaning outside of just that I think it's beautiful. So here's the first tattoo I ever got. And this is the tattoo of Our Lady of Guadalupe. My daughter's birthday, December 12th, is Our Lady of Guadalupe's birthday. I'd seen this tattoo on a friend of mine's arm, something like it anyway. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I thought, I've given my ministry and I've given my life to Our Lady. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to let her be on me forever, because I'm never going to change my mind about my love for the Blessed Virgin Mary. If Jesus loved her, I want to love her. I'm going to try to love her as much as Jesus. So I put this one on my arm for a couple reasons. One, I wanted it on my arm because it's through my hands oftentimes that I can do great works for the Lord, by blessing and caring for my family, by taking care of people that are hurting, the touch of affection. But it's also through my hands and my arms, my body, that I can hurt people. And so the constant visual reminder on me is that my body is a gift from the Lord, and I am meant to be a gift to another. So on my body, I have a few other reminders. I have this dagger here on my arm. This is a classic image, and I kind of like this traditional classic tattooing. On the tattoo, of the dagger, here is also a butterfly. And it almost looks like the butterfly might be getting stabbed by the tattoo, but that's not the case. I put the verse Colossians 3:2 on here for a reason. Colossians 3:2 talks about the reality of putting to death whatever is unholy. And I realized again in my life that there's a lot of things that if I don't kill it, if you will, spiritually take it out, right? The Word of God is like a two-edged sword, able to divide asunder, cut away the bad, if you will, keep the good. I wanted to be reminded that there are things in my life that I'm going to have to cut out, and sin is one of them. I have my wife's name here. I figured after the amount of time that we've been together, this is basically worth it. And so I was in San Antonio, Texas, and I saw this kind of old classic Sailor Jerry tattoo, and I thought, yeah, I love that vibe, and I'll put Linda's name down on it. And I've been happy with that. That's been a cool tattoo. The second tattoo I ever got, though, was when I was in Des Moines, Iowa, and I had this eagle, and this eagle is fighting a serpent, a snake. Now, again, this is kind of a classic peace. And I have the verse here, Isaiah 40:31, which is the verse that talks about mounting up on wings as eagles. And if you run, those that run will not be weary, walk will not faint. And the idea of the Lord's presence in our life on our journey. And I thought, this is a picture, though, of my spiritual life. I feel like I'm constantly fighting the devil at every turn. And again, it's just that reminder that I'm in a battle. It says for us in the teachings of the church that we're going to struggle with the world and the flesh and the devil. And so again, these are my reminders. They're not going to make sense to other people a lot of times, but that's okay. But what about that verse in the Old Testament that says that if you have any type of markings on you, then somehow that's bad, or a tattoo that's bad? Like, don't have tattoos. But in that same verse, it talks about not having ear piercings, makeup and stuff like that. And so what are we going to do? Are we going to say, girls, you're not allowed to ever wear makeup or put earrings on? If you have earrings, then somehow you're bad? No, that's ridiculous. Those are Old Testament ceremonial laws. There's a number of them, and they're there for us to look through. Levitical ceremonial laws, they're Jewish laws that we're going to make sure that things were done and done right, and to protect them from the varying cultures and places that would cause them to minimize their faith and their morality at that. And ceremonial laws, though, are not applicable for us today as Christians. Moral laws are. So the question is it immoral to have a tattoo? And I believe strongly that it's not immoral to have a tattoo. There's a lot of people that joke around and say, why would you put like a bumper sticker on a Ferrari? My body is not a Ferrari. My body's probably like a minivan or a Volkswagen bus. Depending on the days, it's kind of like a bulldozer. That being said, I think for me personally, it's not a moral issue, but knowing that some people struggle with tattoos, I often wear, especially when I'm teaching at the university, I'll wear long sleeve shirts and a jacket. Why? Because I don't want to cause somebody to be distracted from the message that I'm giving them. And I've found that the tattoos that I have not only are a blessing to me, but they've been a comfort to many other people. My wife and I have had 14 pregnancies. Now we have 9 kids, which means we've lost 5 babies. And we don't talk about this ever, really, except for very few times. We'll bring it up in a conversation, maybe somebody who can relate. These are our children, and we've named them, and they're very special to us. And on the back of my wife, she has tattoos that will reflect every single one of those kids that we've lost through miscarriage. Do you know what? If you decide that you want to get a tattoo and you're old enough and you're not going against your family, then it's beautiful as far as I'm concerned. And I'll be the first person to say I want to see it if it's in a place that is seeable. A lot of people say, well, you don't want to get tattoos because as you get older, they're going to look funny and they're going to sag. And I just want you to know, when you get older, you're going to look funny and you're going to sag anyways. Last but not least, I'll just show you a couple others. This is the last tattoo I've gotten, and it was done probably over a year ago, maybe 2. I haven't gotten one since then. Not because I didn't want to have tattoos, but I wanted to make sure that my body was healthy and that the money that I was earning was going towards the things that needed to go towards. And that's another picture of the Blessed Mother. One of my all-time favorite tattoos, though, is this tattoo here. And it's a sugar skull, and I was in Arizona, and it has the phrase at the bottom, from dust to dust. And I love this tattoo. It is some of the most amazing artwork that I have on me. Pretty cool guy did it in Arizona area, and he was a pro. And why do I have a skull on my body? It's interesting because St. Jerome would write with a skull, and some of the other saints would, on their desk. And why? To remind them of their mortality. There's nothing wrong with a skull. For me, it's a reminder that, you know what, I have to live this life every day as if it were my last. I do have some tattoos that are meaningless, except for maybe just cool. This is a narwhal. There's no spiritual meaning whatsoever to that. But I did it because I have that funny little unicorn meditation. Plus, it's an old classic kind of sailor tattoo, and it's done in a way that's called the stick and poke. So it was one needle dotting it at a time. So that was kind of a cool thing. I have some others. I don't have time to show them all, but this is Jonah and the whale, and I have an awesome, huge picture of the Native American on the side that was pretty special for me growing up in South Dakota. And all that to say, it's a very personal decision, and it will be with you forever. So make sure that you find somebody that's an awesome artist, it's a clean facility, and that you're going to be happy enough with that, because it doesn't just come off after you change your mind. Is it immoral? I don't think so. And at this point in the game, what I usually say is, if this were the worst thing that I've ever done, I think I'd be going right to heaven the moment that I died. You know, getting a tattoo is not, by any stretch of the imagination, the bad things that are in my life. They help me, these do, to remind me that I am not my own, that I've been bought with a price, that I am God's child. And so, as a result, these reminders help me, hopefully, to stay on the straight and narrow. God bless you.